Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining me today. In this webinar series, I'm going to share with you how you can use Hover this winter to grow your pipeline for next year and prepare to make 2018 your best year yet. Just to introduce myself, my name is Nicole, and I'm an account executive with Hover. For those of you that are not very familiar with the program, Hover is a platform that takes your 8 ground level photos of a home and from those creates a fully measured, customizable 3D model. The benefits of this? To save time, gain that competitive edge, and close more business. The platform provides you with 2 deliverables, a complete PDF breakdown of all the measurements of a home that you can then use to quote and sell a job, create material lists, and order materials, and a 3D rendering of the customer's actual home in its current condition, where you can then change the roof and siding materials to show the customer what their house will actually look like after the job is complete. So jumping right into our tips, let's start with an obvious tip that many contractors tend to overlook. Tip number 1, reach out to your existing customers. Get a head start during the winter season by connecting with your existing clients. Considering that it's way more expensive to acquire new customers, it's definitely worth identifying additional opportunities within your existing client base. You already have an established reputation with the people that have used you in the past. They know you and they already have confidence in your services. If your client asked you to install a new siding over the summer, maybe now they're looking for someone to install a new roof next year as well. So one way to do this is to go through your existing property portfolio of past jobs submitted. If you've been using Hover for a while, you already have a solid database of all the properties that you've previously worked on. Your property portfolio, which you can access online or in the app, has a wealth of information that you can now put to use again. You have all the accurate measurements readily available to put together a precise quote for any additional work that you're suggesting to the homeowner. However, when you reach out to the homeowner, don't just present them with a quote. Make sure to explain the value of the additional work to your customer. Tell them that you noticed that there was a leak under the roof when you replaced their siding and you'd like to solve it before it causes more damage. Or explain that you've identified potential opportunities to make their house look better and increase its worth. Explain to the homeowner that things like replacing old windows and doors are worth the investment, especially if they're ready to sell. And once the homeowner agrees to the additional work, you can then share the 3D model of their home with them so that they can take a look at the different products and color options that are available. In order to get the most of your property portfolio, one thing to point out is to make sure that you take full advantage of the notes section when submitting a job. For instance, write down when you notice that there's a leak underneath the roof, even though the homeowner doesn't want to fix it at this time, or note that the siding might need a repaint in a couple of months, or that the house is going to need new windows soon. All of this information will help you tailor your outreach when you reach out later on, and the homeowner will be so impressed that you notice those details. It's going to help convey the message to the homeowner that you have their best interests at heart. One thing I'd like to point out also is that we at Hover do not see these notes. These notes are for your internal use only. So if there's something that you want us to know, simply just make sure you reach out to our customer support department and just let us know. Also, please note that access to your property portfolio is limited to 60 days on our basic level of service. In order to receive unlimited access, you can upgrade at any time to our professional or premium plan, and then you'll have unlimited access to all of your jobs for as long as you're on one of those plans. And no worries if you ordered a roof-only report on a prior job. If you ordered a roof-only with Hover and you'd like to reach out for additional work besides the roof, you can easily upgrade to a complete to receive the full 3D model of the property as well as all the wall and opening measurements. So simply just open up the property in your property portfolio. You'll see the Upgrade to Complete button. Just tap the Upgrade to Complete button and then you'll see the difference that you're going to be charged. Click on Upgrade and you'll receive an email and an in-app push notification once the complete 3D model and measurements are ready. Tip number 2, continue to run and gather leads. Besides proactively reaching out to existing customers, you can also take advantage of the slower winter season to continue to run leads while your competitors are binge watching Netflix. Evidently, contractors who still hand measure properties will not be prone to go out to measure a house when it's pouring rain or snowing, not to mention how incredibly dangerous it is to climb on an icy or snow-covered roof. Because Hover requires only ground level photos, you can continue to capture properties whether it rains or snows. Even if you can't replace the roof yet because of the weather conditions, you can still receive all the measurements from the Hover program and provide a quote to the homeowner now. In doing so, you drastically increase your chances at closing that deal and adding it to your 2018 pipeline. Alternatively, you can also use the prospect feature to capture and store an unlimited number of properties without immediately processing them. You or any other admin within the company can then process these properties only when you need the measurements in the 3D model. The winter season is a great time to get started with this feature, as less homeowners will proactively reach out to you, so your sales team will have more time to go out and capture and store the properties. Many Hover customers who operate in an area where lots of storms pass through use the prospect feature so that they can immediately process the properties and receive the measurements in 3D model after a storm passes by. That way they can close the deal ahead of their competitors. On the other hand, the prospect feature is very helpful if you're planning on increasing your operations in a certain area next year. In preparation, you can hire canvassers or send your salespeople out into the field and have them capture all the properties in an area. That way you have a database of all the properties that you wish to work on readily available. You can then immediately process the property when a customer requests a quote, or proactively reach out and impress the homeowner with an interactive 3D model of their property. So how does prospect work? It's very easy. You simply just change permissions for each of your team members under the Manage Team and select which team members' properties will require approval before processing. So essentially, your team has the ability to capture all the potential leads in an area, and then the jobs will just sit in what we call the cloud until an admin goes in and decides to approve them and have them processed. So whether this be now or next year or not at all. Tip number 3, get ahead of your competition in multifamily residential bids. As you may or may not know, we've recently opened up the platform to begin processing multifamily residential structures. From the end of the year until the following spring, many property owners or property managers work on budgeting for next year's capital improvements for multifamily residential properties. So now is the time to focus on these larger bids. By using Hover, you can guarantee to stand out from your competitors and drastically increase your chances of winning the bid, not to mention how much time you're going to save by not having to hand measure these monster properties. Then wow the homeowner association with detailed, custom logo branded breakdown of all the measurements, and then show them a 3D rendering of the complex structures with the new materials on them. So how does pricing work for these types of properties? We've created flat rate pricing depending on what level of service you're on. This feature is only available on our professional or premium levels of service. If you're on our professional plan, a roof only is $100, a complete is $250. If you're on our premium plan, a roof only is $75 and a complete is $200. Of course, none of the previous tips we've discussed are feasible without having a solid sales team, which brings us to tip number 4, use technology to hire your A-team. The success of your company next year will highly depend on the quality of your workforce, so it's crucial that you hire the right people now. In order to recruit the highest quality salespeople, it's key that those people only need to focus on selling and that the rest is taken care of by other staff and technology. One of our current customers, Benson Properties, always uses Hover when interviewing salespeople and feels that it's an incredibly valuable sales tool. We spoke to Adam, who's a GM at Benson, and he says that Hover is one tool that his company has in their toolkit that many other companies in the area don't have, and that's a big differentiator with other companies when you're trying to bring in new people. They've been able to hire more people much easier by showing potential sales hires that they will only need to focus on selling, as they will receive all the other information they need from Hover. They no longer need to measure the property or clean up their notes for production. Lastly, tip number 5, get out there. Throughout the winter, you can attend multiple trade shows and conferences to learn about the newest trends, showcase your work, and meet new prospects. It's equally important to carve out some time to prepare for upcoming spring home shows to ensure that those will be as successful as possible. Take a look at your property portfolio and select the 3D models of the products that you're most proud of. That way you can show the homeowner what they can expect and impress them by the fact that you'll provide them a 3D rendering of their home in addition to your other services. In closing, use this flow time to reach out for team training. We have recently added many new advanced features and updates to the Hover platform that you may or may not be aware of. We have reps that can come out to your location and do an in-person training, or we can arrange a web training for you and your team to make sure you're getting the full benefits of the program. So reach out today to set up your on-site or web training before the season ramps up. You can call us, email us, or write into our online support chat to request a training. And that brings me near the end of our webinar today. We hope that these tips were helpful today and that they will help you grow your pipeline and increase your business in 2018. Thank you for joining and have a great day.